And here we are, back at it again with another epic game of chess. And today we're facing somebody slightly lower rated than us, and hopefully I'll be able to give you a more in-depth explanation of the position, because I think that I'm going to understand a little bit than our opponent. I'll understand it a little bit better than our opponent. And so this is just the Caro Kann. I believe that this is the advanced variation. Here we go ahead and push the pawn. If we see the bishop, we trade the bishop, and then we push this pawn. This is just something in the opening you need to know. You don't rush forward, you develop your knight first. Then you need to decide, how are we going to develop this dark square bishop, because he has a hard time. If I go here, that blunts the ability of my knight to be able to go forward. So generally what I do is I trade here, then I slide my bishop out, and only then. You could also go this route. So we're going to scoot back. If we get hit, we're just going to scoot back again. It's all good. Nothing to panic about. He's going to come forward, and we're just going to trade that knight off immediately. Then this knight will jump here. We'll have pieces attacking his weakness. And so boom, boom, boom. It's not the worst thing in the world. I'll then push this pawn to try and chip away at this advanced pawn structure that he'll have. And I'll be ready to castle. And so I'm not 100% sure if all those were the correct moves, but I've played this exact position before in the past. He can also go ahead and pin our knight to our queen, which is a funny kind of pin. Normally the knight's here, but either way. So let's see what he goes for. What are his options to our side of the board, are what we really need to be worried about. So he can just castle and completely ignore it, but then we castle. If he comes to our side of the board, we take. His pawn's going to take back, and he'll have kind of a clamp in our position. Okay, so he defends. I think we're going to just go ahead and jump forward with the knight, attack that, attack the pawn. And things are looking good. And the reason we're doing this is look how many things I've got attacking this. So, like, yes, he's got more stuff defending it, but at some point, once we start trading some stuff off, that pawn will be a weakness later on in the game. So, like I said, we are just going to trade that off. Then the question of, we're going straight into a draw, but that's normally how chess is until somebody makes a mistake. So now I do have the option of get rid of the dark square bishop. He will then defend his weakness. I don't feel like that's great for us. I can also throw in a check. He can defend it. So I kind of like the idea of boom, 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 check, scoot back, check here, and then I think we're going to go for this idea. So we're going to take here. If he takes with the pawn, we get the check. He could defend with the knight. I think we're just going to go for it. There's a chance that we'll be able to start attacking this weakness, but now it's quite well defended. So we're going to slide on in with this check. And none of what I said made sense because now this pawn is defended. So even if his queen goes here and I take, this was never a real threat. I need to castle. That's for sure. This will be a weakness of our own. So we're going to just castle. He's going to castle. If I push forward, take, take, take. Don't know. What if I push forward? He can then basically trap our queen. That's no fun. What if I jump forward and then he takes? What if I jump forward? If he then decides to attack our queen. So I think that might make sense, the en passant. Because if he then attacks us, he won't be able to en passant take us, but that gives him a passed pawn. So here, 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 here. Don't hate the idea of just putting our rook onto this file or over here. One of these two ideas. I think let's take a step back. We're going to prep this pawn push. And if his knight gets here, oh boy, it's game over for us, really. Because my knight sucks. My knight, what are even the options? Okay, so it looks like he wants to really double up on this. think we're going to push this pawn. I would love to break this open. Okay, now what do we do? Take with the queen, take with the pawn. What's the correct move here? Let's just check things out real quick. If we take with the pawn, I sort of start attacking this. If I take with the queen, I'm liable to just get attacked. So we are going to take with the pawn. He then comes over here and threatens checkmate. I can defend that two different ways, really, pushing either pawn. This one is liable to just get hit like that. So I think this one makes more sense. But now he has kind of the idea of like, boom, 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 get into the position like so. Don't love that. And he can definitely just pin the knight to the queen. So I think what I might have to do is something like this. Or even scoot this guy over here. And something else to stay a little bit aware of is the time. I don't want to go too far below on time. That's something very important. This one, we got 2-second increments, so the chances of getting flagged are pretty low. But still, you don't want to, have 20 seconds when your opponent has 5 minutes, because then you're just in a little bit of a problem. And so now that I have this weird structure, and so I've got really weak dark squares, I'm thinking maybe my king scoots up and tries to serve the purpose of defending some stuff. Also, maybe my knight rerouting over here doesn't defend immediately, but it will defend some of these dark squares. So I boom, boom, and then I'm defending this, I'm attacking this. It's not the worst idea in the world. And so let's see. Our opponent is 40 seconds below. And so now that I have this 40-second time advantage, I would love to maintain that and just not make any terrible, terrible moves. But if you can make some moves that are just okay, like if there's 3 moves and one of them is the best, but the next 2 are just like, okay, it's okay to make those moves if you do it in a timely fashion. When it's not like a super long game, if it's not a classical game, you just got to make good moves. You don't got to make the best moves, other than if it's like a dire situation where you need to make one of these moves. And so I suppose, what are the options here? He has this pawn push, but I'll pretty much just take. But then his knight would get into the middle of the board. Not excellent for us. So what are his moves? This. I feel like that just takes too long. If that happens, I just scoot over here and I shut that idea off almost immediately. And I would be able to defend by pushing forward like this. So even if boom, 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 I can defend like this or like this. I think. Also, I can scoot up and scoot the rook over. But then I would get hit with a check and then scoot back, and then my rook is stuck in the corner behind my king. Don't love that. He can also take this time to pin the knight. That's not a bad move at all. In which case, I would probably scoot over here, so I'm defending and attacking. Wait, I wouldn't scoot all the way over there. Maybe scoot just 1 square this way or 1 square this way. Okay, so it looks like he is going to just go for this idea. So there's a few different things I can do here. I can scoot my queen over here and defend this weak square. I think we're just going to do that. Now my knight is undefended. My queen was doing a great job of defending that knight. Now it is no longer defended. And so what this does for us, if he wants to come in here, we'll trade. If he wants to come here and then here, then I can push. And then my queen and my rook are defending this square. My queen is defending this square. And I think we're good to go. I can even at some point like scoot this up and defend all the way across the board like this. So I might even like make a move like this. That way if some heavy pressure starts happening here, push, and then my queen is free to go somewhere else and the rook will be defending. So I think that's something to just take note of. Now, this knight is quite possibly my worst piece. I'm even thinking about pushing right now. Like push right now. If he takes, I take back with the queen. If he takes, then I sort of get active. Going here, then here doesn't really work right now. Or I can push forward, and if he takes, I take with the rook like that. I don't know. Let's just do this. It holds down on this square, so if he doesn't take, then I get this square, which is kind of important. Now my queen is defending this. So instead of doing that, instead of like getting in trouble and then playing this move, I'm just playing it right now so that it doesn't happen in the future. Okay, so he wants to do this. Do I need to immediately be worried about that? I don't think so. I can defend like this. So something I'm noticing here is I can slide in and kind of fork these pieces. How beautiful is that? Not sure. Because then if this comes in, I slide up with my rook like that. And this is a stronghold. Will be a little bit difficult for our opponent to break through that. So if I slide in here, I'm attacking this. He could just straight up give up on it and come over here. Then I grab, then he grabs. I don't see a huge reason not to do that. And then if he comes over here, okay, so he doesn't want to do it. He wants to come in more. Oh my goodness. Yeah, and if he gets here, he's attacking this. And there's not an excellent way for me to defend that. I have to scoot back, kind of. All right, so we're gonna allow that. Absolutely, we're gonna just allow it. If he takes, we're cool. We got a passed pawn. If he doesn't take and like goes here, we just go here. He could kind of get into the position, and that is scary. But mine would come with check. So he's got a king too. He's got a king too. Okay, so he doesn't feel like doing it. I feel like I'm up a pawn now. It would probably make sense. Probably makes sense to scoot back. So now that this is defended, if the knight does come in, this will be attacked. Okay, okay. That was probably a small oversight. Oops. Because I believe I can only defend that by giving up my rook, and then I'm losing. So if I push forward like this, I mean, I can get attacked like this. I think that's going to be the only option here, is I have to push this pawn 2 squares. Don't love it. Don't love it. My king is far weaker than his at this very moment. And I could, this freaky sacrifice here. Like, take here. He can't take with the pawn. But if he takes with the queen, then this is undefended. But then this would be weak. Hard to say. Okay. So he wants to step forward. I think it would make sense here to take a step up with my king. What if I just start pushing this pawn? Or scoot back like this? I don't know. If he moves this anywhere, then I'm all of a sudden my king. This guy gets attacked. Don't love it. And this rook needs to participate in the defense or the attack of something. Because right now he's not doing a whole lot of nothing. What should I do? Not give up my time advantage, that's for sure. If I scoot up and he goes somewhere, then this gets attacked. I'd have to scoot up again. So we're just going to do this. We're just going to do this. He could even, like, maybe try and bring this guy. I don't know. So if he goes here, this will be under attack, but I can defend it with my rook over here. And I'm hanging on to this. So he's going to have to take a step back, which I quite like. But then he can come in, kind of step back, come over here. Then he's attacking this. I'd have to defend like this. But I think I would be hanging on to pretty much everything. So he comes here. Now this is being attacked because of the pin. I think I can just defend it. Does that make sense? Should I defend it with my... We're going to do this. And I'm literally thinking about bringing my other rook back and like swinging it on over somehow. Okay, so now this is under attack. We can defend it like this. If he... Oh, this isn't under attack. It's defended twice. So now this is cut off. So what should I do? I mean, here. My knight's got no good way of getting into the game. Oh, we got to scoot over and defend this. Duh. That took me quite some time to see. Okay. Scoot back with the rook. Attack this a million different ways. I feel like I can defend it. Also, this rook coming forward would defend it. But yeah, I'm just hanging on to everything over here. But I'm literally going to do this. Okay, so he wants to... just make a move. Okay. This would attack my queen. But then I can scoot back. I think we're good to go. I'm going to push this pawn. The knight's definitely coming in. But then it kind of cuts off the rook. I would need to maintain defense of this. I might scoot my rook up in the future to maintain defense of my weakness and start pushing this. My queen is now being attacked as well as this pawn, so I think the only move is to scoot back here. Right? Oh, I'm so scared. Now this is defended by only the knight and the king. This is getting wild. He can push at some point as well. 1638, and this dude is just going for it. Scoot my king up? Push. If he moves this back, then 20 seconds. I really don't want him to lose on time either. But if he makes a sort of blunder, I would be okay with it. Okay, so I think we have to take this. Oh my god. We trade off. All of a sudden, it just became an equal position. here. Yes, I'm doing this so that my queen maintains defense of that, because I could probably hit him with this check. If he comes up, then I win the rook. Check. Here. Check. Oh boy. I'm not sure if that was the move. We're going to do it. Check. Check. Trade the queens? Is that what I want to do? Trade the queens. Push. He can get this with check, but I'm scooting over. Trying to get in. He can get this, but this pawn needs to be dealt with. We're going to go here. He gets it with the knight. Okay. We attack the rook. Attack the king. The king has to scoot away from the knight. Whew. And that was it right there at the end. What a game. 1638. I don't even think that I outplayed him or anything. This is a more or less equal position until he had no time. And so the position, as we have it right here, what are his options? Scoot away and lose the knight, yes. Or you're going to lose the rook. Okay, so I did win at the end, now that I'm looking at it. I was going to take the knight with my knight once he scooted away. I didn't even think about, oh, I'm grabbing the rook. Maybe I would have noticed it after he made a move. Who knows? Let's check it out with the computer. And here we are on the analysis. And if you can tell, it's nighttime. I went to the gym. I came back. We go to the gym around here. The lighting's changed. The clothes have changed. The hair is sweaty. Let's get to it. We're going to make this full screen, and we're going to hop right into this analysis. And oh my goodness, I was just going over this game, and I thought that I was going to just be able to completely dominate this 1600, and that was not the case. It was a completely even position. We both had a few opportunities, but ultimately when we had 4 seconds and 8 seconds, he just blundered and then lost on time. And either one would have been equally traumatic. He would have either just lost on time or made a terrible move and lost a knight or a rook, depending on which one I saw first. And so I saw the knight first, for the record. We'll get to it. So if we look at our opponent, he played 5 inaccuracies, 1 mistake, 5 blunders, 71% accurate. And myself, close to the double digits with inaccuracies, 2 mistakes, 4 blunders. Not my best game. But all of those are pretty much happening in this end game here. Basically every move back and forth is either an accuracy or a blunder. So all of these moves made here, those are the rough moves. And if we look at this moment right here, this is when I had 38 seconds and our opponent had 20. And so it makes sense. Everything up until that is just, slight advantage. Not even a full pawn advantage. We got a pawn advantage here. 1.7 we're doing. And so it looks like I had most of the advantage. Then the big advantage here, threw it all away. So let's just get right to it. We're going to fly to the beginning. And you could probably hear the tone of my voice change from when we're sliding through this part of the opening. I'm like, oh, this is the Carl Khan advanced variation. We develop our light square bishop. Then we defend it. If he brings this out, we trade off the light square bishop to enable this pawn push. Played this opening a million times. I know it like the back of my hand if they play the moves that I know. But we push this pawn. We get through this. And if you hear later in the game, I'm probably okay. So we get to it. We take the pawn. He takes back. We now have a way to get our bishop developed. But what I was supposed to do was push a pawn, attack the queen, develop my queen to attack this. So if he moves this, then he can't move his bishop, or I'm going to get this pawn. Okay. Don't hate it. I get my bishop out so I can bring my knight over here. That was the game plan all along. I'm supposed to just take, because taking here, it makes him move a piece sort of back or develop this. Scooting back is not as favorable because he gets a space advantage. I scoot back. His knight comes in, and his knight is going to come here, and I'm going to trade the same bishop for that same knight, but it's going to give him a pawn thorn into my position. That is why I was supposed to trade it, because I'm going to be trading the same piece for the same piece, just in a less favorable position. So either way, we develop the knight. We hop that knight right into the middle. We're attacking the dark square bishop. He brings his his knight into our position. Immediately, we chop its head off. We lose our bishop. Then I take his dark square bishop because he took mine. So now we got no dark square bishops on the board. It is a completely even position. I take this time to give this check because whatever I calculated didn't make any sense. I was planning on somehow winning this pawn is really what I wanted. Like scoot back, take, then take. But none of it made any sense because this pawn is now defended. None of it made any sense. Whatever. We castle, he castles. We scoot our queen back. I guess I could have just immediately gone for this pawn push. For some reason, I was worried about this attacking our queen. Then I scoot over. Then he could like bring his other rook. And then my queen is kind of on the enemy's side of the board getting attacked a bunch. So I get my queen to safety. It's not a bad move. Then we go for our pawn break. The only other pawn break we really have is right here. And it's not going to work so great because it weakens my king or gets my rook out here and then weakens my king. We take. He scoots the rook over. That is a checkmate threat, my friend. There are two, or there's really three. I can defend like this, but that one doesn't make a lot of sense to me. There are two ways to defend. This one walks directly into a pawn advancement that's going to dislodge this pawn. Don't want to see that. But this one greatly weakens my dark squares. So I was supposed to choose this one. But if I do, then he launches his pawn. I hit him with this nasty attack over here. Then we jump in. It's hanging on by the queen. He then pins it. That we're cool with. We double up over here. Never in a million years was I going to play that. Maybe I could have, but we definitely didn't. And so I felt quite in control. But then all of a sudden, things are kind of falling apart. This was his biggest disadvantage thus far, making this move. He was supposed to just, in fact, take en passant. So either way, I'm taking a little bit too long. Let's hop into this. I see the opportunity to grab a pawn, but the problem with that is now all of my pieces are on this side of the board, and my king is on this side of the board, and all of his pieces are on this side of the board ready to kill me. So at the cost of winning a pawn, I bring all of my pieces on this side of the board. He brings yet another piece to the party over here. I am definitely the one being attacked here. I scoot the queen back, best move. He jumps in with the knight, only move, I scoot the pawn up. I'm supposed to do this pawn break because if he takes here, why can you not take? What am I missing? Oh, it's just a crazy, crazy checkmate. Okay. I didn't see all of that. We scoot back. We scoot the king up. We scoot the rook over to defend. We then scoot the queen over to defend. I am just trying to hang on to everything in my position. We then bring the rook back so that my rook can defend this file or potentially scoot over here to defend this pawn. We bring the knight, and I'm just hanging on. He's got a knight attacking, a queen attacking, a rook attacking, and I'm basically doing the same defending this. This is really being attacked right now. And so he scoots back. I could have just started pushing the pawn. I didn't need to put my rook behind it first, but I felt like it was a smart idea to put the rook behind the pawn, then start pushing the pawn. Whatever, doesn't matter. I scoot back here because I have to hang on to this pawn, and then I start pushing my passed pawn. He scoots forward, and I straight up did not see that this just puts two attacks on my pawn. So I should have just pushed. If I push, if he takes here, then he walks into a fork, and if he takes here, then my knight gets over here, and that's not terrible. That's actually quite nice. His pawns are now stuck. My knight's in the middle of the board. This is a really close to being a really, really bad problem for our opponent here. So I straight up just missed that this was attacking this. So I take here, the wrong move, and we trade off into a completely even position. I scoot over here to maintain defending this pawn, and then my rook can get active is the idea behind all of this. And this is our opponent's blunder of the game. Check here, and I needed to give the right check because this check, the only way to block is with the knight. and then I can just take. Would I have scooted here? No, I would have just cashed out immediately. But then he gets ours. Then we scoot up. Then he can get this. But then I get a pass pawn. Okay, that would have been hard to see. That would have been hard to see. So what could have happened is here, attack the rook. The rook gives the check. I scoot up. And I'm going to win some stuff no matter what you do. If you go here, I take here. And then I just got an extra knight. Okay? Didn't see it in my 20 seconds left. Didn't see it. I saw a way to trade off the queen. We trade off the queen. And now I am no longer being attacked. But I play a terrible move because he's going to just win that pawn and this pawn. And he chooses the wrong retreating move. This was his advantage. He could scoot back with check, or he can scoot back not with check. And he chose the wrong one because this one defends this square is what he was thinking. We then get my rook involved. Instead of scooting his king forward, he scoots the king back. I push my pawn to lose it for no reason. We jump in here, and he's got 6 seconds. I've got 10 seconds. This is just straight up not good for me. He can just attack me, and it's not the end of the world. But he jumps forward with the knight, and this is bad for 2 reasons. For one, I can just grab the rook. For two, I can give this check, and it forces the king away. And then I get the knight for free. That was my idea. When I played it, it's hard to say what I was actually going to play. Would I have grabbed the rook? Would I have grabbed the knight? I probably would have grabbed the knight, to be fair. And so, either way, he ran out of time, but I was probably going to be able to clean up if I get up a piece. I would have been able to somehow situate my king over here. I'm going to definitely be able to stop these 2 pawns. And bonus points, his king is cut off. So if he goes here, for one, I take and it's with check. Or if I take here, then the king is still cut off. So that was not the game that I had planned. I was planning on destroying our opponent, but I hope that it was instructive and you were able to learn some. I know I sure did. Specifically, how to defend. Did you see all of the defensive moves I had to play? I played like 5 attacking moves and like 25 defensive moves. So either way, thank you so much for watching. You guys are literally the best. I'm going to try and just keep making more videos, get better at chess. If you've got any constructive criticism or anything, just throw it in the comments. I'll read every single one, respond to everyone. I love you. You're the best. Get out of here.